An Iranian diplomatic source described the US's 15-point plan as extremely maximalist and unreasonable, while Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi has said that no negotiations were taking place between Tehran and Washington. Now, White House has warned that the US will hit Iran harder than before if Iran fails to accept the reality of the current moment. But if you talk about the latest updates as far as the strikes are concerned, what we are told is that the strikes, there is no let up in the strikes. In fact, drone launches and missile attacks have been directed towards the Persian Gulf nations. Even Thursday morning, as we speak here in India, the authorities in the United Arab Emirates said that the air defenses were responding to incoming missiles and drones from Iran. Saudi Arabia's air defenses intercepted several drones, the defense ministry has said, without saying where they came from. Bahrain's interior minister said there was a fire because of Iranian aggression, but did not give details about the strikes or the facility that was hit. And these are the details I'm reading from New York Times. So where is this war headed to? We keep listening to Donald Trump, who keeps giving conflicting signals about war ending, Tehran digging in its heels, saying that the war is not ending. How long will this crisis continue? That's a question which everyone across the globe is asking. And with the deadlock of Hormuz Strait, no one knows how long this crisis will continue. Joining me this evening is a very special guest, Dr. Muqtedar Khan, who is you've seen him on YouTube. He has his own channel called Conversations, which is very popular in US and across. And he's also a professor from Delaware. Thank you so much, Dr. Khan, for joining on HW News. What are you picking up from America? I'm really interested in knowing what is actually happening in White House. And with Trump giving conflicting signals, what is he up to?
Well, I think Donald Trump is looking for an off-ramp. He feels he's done enough. But he is also doing things which suggest that he's willing to go further. For example, 82nd Airborne troops, about 3,000 are on the way. They should be in place by tomorrow. About 2,000 plus Marines are heading towards the region. So the U.S., as forward deployed, has 8 to 10,000 troops, other than the 50,000 that are based all around the region. So there is a theory that is going around that the United States might try to annex Karg Island. And that could be the way in which they will control the Strait of Hormuz. I was listening to a General Keane. General Keane is now retired. He's a Fox News analyst, and he was the one who had exposed the Abu Ghraib situation. He was the one who had investigated. So he was saying that he's perplexed as to why the U.S. has not taken the Strait of Hormuz by now. He feels that it is doable. So some generals think that there are military ways of taking the Strait of Hormuz, and I think that is a plan B that is behind the scenes. Donald Trump wants to take it through diplomatic means, and if not, he will continue. But he's also looking for an off-ramp.
When you say that probably a military or a diplomatic means of taking over Hormuz, so obviously he can't do it alone. He'll have to talk to other countries. Like, he made a phone call to Prime Minister Modi also day before yesterday, and everyone in the diplomatic circle started speculating that maybe he would be having a mine-sweeping operation in mind, that, whatever mines have been laid out in Straits of Hormuz, maybe he's wanting to clear that.
No, the plan is like this, that if they have a diplomatic solution, like the 15-point agenda that he proposed, so after the ceasefire is done and an agreement is reached with Iran, then Iran and US will together manage the Strait of Hormuz. So they'll split the $2 million. I think that is his plan. But he's also making money on the side. I think his whole tactics of delaying attack for 5 days was to play the market. If you notice, on Friday, the gas prices were up at $107 per barrel. The stock market was down. And then after Donald Trump said, I'm going to hold back against the Iranian infrastructure and energy structure for 5 days, immediately the stock market shot through the roof and the oil price came down by $10 per barrel. And that's a huge difference, So I can imagine that there are billionaires who must have made billions if they knew ahead of time. And nobody in the Department of Justice at the moment in the United States will investigate Trump, even though that is they are supposed to be independent. But these days, unfortunately, the checks and balances in the U.S. has gone down significantly.
No,
But
so from what you were saying, Khan, that this entire peace plan and the 15-point peace plan, what he's doling out, is basically just tactics to calm the markets, whereas a war doesn't seem to be ending, and he's thinking of diplomatic and military ways of capturing the Strait of Hormuz.
I think the biggest challenge for Donald Trump is how to get Israel to stop. Let's say there's
Okay.
an agreement between the US and Iran, and the US says, okay, I'm stopping this fight. And Israel says, no, we want to finish this regime off. We don't want to leave the regime intact. We don't want to leave their missiles intact. We don't want to leave Hezbollah intact. And so if Netanyahu wants to continue with it, and even if Netanyahu drops one additional bomb beyond that, Iran will respond as it is.
Yeah,
Because Iran said, I will do all that it has done if it is attacked. It didn't say that if it is attacked by US or by Iran.
true.
And I think the biggest losers in this, other than Iran, obviously Iran is suffering a lot of damage, is the Gulf countries. The Gulf countries are the biggest losers in this. But if you notice, even the Iranian response was maximalist. I mean, they want all sanctions gone, they want to continue to support Hezbollah. Now they're asking for sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz, which is something that they had never asked in the past. So they have made a maximalist demand. So okay, so at least we know what the starting point for negotiations are. Now the question is, will the Dalal nation successfully hold the negotiations or not? Will Pakistan? I mean, I was so disappointed to hear Dr. Jaishankar talk about it. To me, I just did a show before you on that particular thing. I call it sour grapes. Angur khatte hain, if India was negotiated, they would have gone through the roof. They celebrated as if it is Diwali. Even though Trump just called Modi as a pro forma because the Indian ambassador to the U.S. ambassador to India, Sergey Gore, called Trump and said, please call him because they are getting fever here. Because he spoke with Asim Munir on Sunday. So he spoke to Asim Munir before he spoke to Modi, right? So the pecking order, you can see, at least as far as Trump is concerned, he's very low. I mean, he doesn't get a call for 3.5 weeks, 4 weeks. So
Right.
from that point of view, I don't think that India is going to play a major role in the Strait of Hormuz, even
No,
though
but
he's
the
the most
report,
affected country.
but Dr. Khan, reports about Pakistan playing the role of a mediator. Is that correct? And is Pakistan really in that role?
So Pakistan, so 4 countries were playing the intermediary role. So it depends on whose WhatsApp you have, right? Phone number. So the Pakistanis were talking to some Iranians and then talking to the White House. And then Turks were talking to some people in Iran and talking to the White House. And so were the Qataris and so were the Omanis. So I think what is happening is that there are 3 or 4 countries which have been acting as mediators or rather communicators. So what they are doing is they are sending messages through these countries. And Pakistan is one of those 3 countries which have been talking. Turkey is the other, and Qatar are also part of it. So I think what is going to happen is the Iranians are going to choose where they will go to meet. And I suspect that the Iranians may choose Turkey over Pakistan. So it's not a done deal. Don't assume that tomorrow Marco Rubio and JD Vance are flying to Islamabad. Pakistan is pushing hard to be there, and we will see what happens. One of the two will be happen. If there are more than one dialogue, then it's quite possible the first one could be in Turkey and the second one in Pakistan. And I think if Trump notices that India is going through, India is getting typhoid because Pakistan is getting this, then he might just do it just to troll India. He loves to troll India. So, but the point is that no one is talking about India playing this role, and Pakistan is talking about it, and Pakistan's name is being bandied as an important country in the most important global geopolitical event that is going on at this moment, right? It's like saying, Nilu, that the IPL final is happening and Gavaskar is not invited to comment. right? And he's sitting on TV and he's watching Srikant do the commentary. How frustrated he's going to get. That is what Dr. Jaishankar must have felt,
No,
because
and why would
he's
he judge
trying.
Goenka? Dr. Khan, don't you think that Prime Minister Modi also would be feeling the same? He would be feeling the heat that even though he's going to chair the BRICS summit and India is going to be the host, but India can't play the role of a mediator. It is Pakistan which is brought in. I mean,
Yes.
about the
I think
frustration of the
I
Minister.
think Prime Minister Modi is so focused on remaining in power in India and being a dominant force that I think he sees all foreign policy issues as, will it make me more popular? So I don't know if you have noticed that when you go and do a search on X about Dalal Nation, there's something else also that is popping up. That is the Morning Consult poll, which says Modi is a 68% and the most popular leader. First of all, I want to tell your audience that all Indian reporting about it is misreporting. When they say that Modi is 68% popular, it doesn't mean that Americans are saying that it's only Indians who are voting for the Indian leader. So among Indians, he is very popular, but not as a global. So it's not that Americans prefer Modi over Trump. That's not the case. But the way it is reported is that as if that the polling is done worldwide. So there itself, you can see the politics of it. The dishonesty is a reflection of how that is being used. Morning Consult is a really small consulting firm with like 10, 20 people, and they use this data for consulting purposes. They're investors, I think that the fact that that poll is also showing up and being tagged on X is because it's all about the battle for Modi's image in India and has nothing to do. I think the Indian Ministry of External Affairs has forgotten how to think and advance India's national interest. They're confusing it with Modi's popularity and Modi's image. And so all this talk about Modi and these leaders, etc., they never talk about how India has great relations with a particular country. They always talk about how Modi has great relations with the leader in that country. It is Modi who made all those phone calls. None of those Gulf countries are calling India. It's India which is calling them. If you notice that it was Modi who made all those phone calls. Saudi Arabia is the most important country in the Gulf. And guess who it turned to? Asim Munir, who visited Saudi Arabia. There was no phone call with MBS. Did they talk? I don't even know what the discussion was. No one knows, no one cares. So the most important countries in the region have not turned to India. You don't see Bahrain or Kuwait or Qatar, even Oman, maybe only UAE because they have all those agreements and all the
I'm wondering,
relations.
Khan, what we are discussing right now, what you are saying, and what I also feel similarly. Wouldn't the people in the government wouldn't they feel the same? Look, we are spoiling our relationship with the Gulf nations. Iran, we've already lost it. We've lost the credibility because Iran doesn't think of India at all in those terms of old civilizational ties we had. So, is there no realization in the government, or they're deliberately sidestepping all these issues?
So one thing that has gone extinct in India is investigative journalism. One of the things that needs to be investigated is where are the foreign policy ideas in India coming from? In the olden days, they would come up from the bureaucracy, the Indian Foreign Service, right? The ambassadors would write in memos and it would go up to the secretary. Then the secretary would go and present it to the minister, and the minister will bring their own perspective, their ideology, their vision. And so a mixture of that will be the foreign policy. Now, the ideas are not coming from the bureaucracy, the ideas are coming from the prime minister's office. In fact, one diplomat told me, and please don't try to guess because that person has never been on my show, so no one knows that I know this diplomat. He told me that he said the most irritating thing for me is when I get these ideas from the prime minister's office and I open them, it's in American spelling. The English spellings are all American spellings, which means a lot of those foreign policy ideas are coming from the friends of BJP here in the US who are making these suggestions. This is how you should follow Israel. Go and dance and entertain the president. Go to Israel and dance and sing, if you remember the Epstein files comment. So I think that a lot of this foreign policy is being formulated in the prime minister's office, and then it is shoved down the throat of the professional bureaucracy. I also learned something very surprisingly. I was talking to Pushparaj Deshpande, and he was saying that per capita, India has a very small foreign service. India needs to double the number of bureaucrats and diplomats it has. So India
Yes.
has great foreign policy ambitions, but it is not doing service. I think there is a dereliction of duty there, not just from the prime minister, but also the establishment, that they are not fully exploiting the opportunities that are there out there for India. I actually did a show a couple of years ago, Neelu. Uh, it was a sarcastic show where I was trying to introduce Dr. Jaishankar to a word that he has never heard of, which is called shuttle diplomacy. I said, borrow Ambani's plane or Adani's plane, and then shuttle between Tehran and Tel Aviv, and that is how you do it. That's how you raise this. Even if you fail, you're front and center. There is a crisis, India is there.
That's true.
The world is looking at India. The world is listening to India, and he's quite articulate. He can come up with lots of ideas. If he wants one, you can give him my WhatsApp number. I'll give him a lot of ideas that he wants. There are a lot of people who can help him. They have so many think tanks in India. So I think that India is playing on the back foot, and they're playing defensive in a T20 game, and it doesn't make sense at all. It's very perplexing. It is, that why India is not taking advantage. Plus, India has so much at stake. You must remember that the Strait of Hormuz, the biggest country that is affected negatively is India, because China is getting its ships free. Even now, the ships are going through China. And now the money that Iran is collecting in yuan, not dollar. So even if India pays, which will be 18 crores per ship, which is $2 million, it will be in yuan and not dollars. So for China, it's not a bad deal what is happening. But India is the country which is the most affected. Plus, on top of that, we have nearly 1 crore diaspora in that region. Apparently, some 3 lakh people have already come back
Yes.
from the Gulf. You don't know whether they will go, what will happen to the jobs. There are lots of Indians who have houses and apartments in this. I heard that Ambani bought a $163 million house in Jumeirah, Palm Jumeirah. It's quite possible that its prices have gone down. So there is going to be a lot of negative financial impact on Indians as well as India's trade to that region. So India has a lot at stake, and for India to just sit it out, it's like, I don't understand this.